ladies and gentlemen. Today I have such a great honor to open Crimean Open debate tournament. To start with, I'd like to say that today our motion is this how we'll allow doping in sports. Let me introduce, of course, my team. My name is Dmitry. I'm the first speaker of proposition team. This is Serge, he is the second speaker, and Joanna, she will be the third speaker of proposition team. And the reply speech will make Serge. Then I'd like to say that, of course, such motion as doping sport is really a sharp question in modern world. It is very actual nowadays, and to be or not to be, to allow or to ban, this is the question we need, this is the problem we need to solve. But anyway, as a proposition team, we will prove that why should we allow doping sports with the help of arguments, with the help of our criteria, with the help of facts, evidences, statistics, which were prepared by our team. Some words about the structure of my speech. First, I want to give the definitions of this game, what is doping, what is to allow, and about what sport we will talk about. Then I'd like to give the criteria of our team, our goal we need to reach. Then I give the argumentation, line of argumentation of our team, and explain each statement and give the illustration and evidences to each argument. To start with, I'd like to say that our first definition about doping. Doping is the addition of small quantities of an element to a semiconductor to change its characteristics. Doping, what is allow? Allow is to legalize. And of course, I'd like to say that we are talking only about professional sport because it is actually a sharp question. Exactly about the professional sport, not children playing football in their yard. They of course won't use doping. Our criterion. Our criteria is the only limits in your life are the ones that you set yourself. It means that each of us can decide what he can and should do during his whole life. It is the basic principle of democracy, the basic principle in each country, and we should follow it. Our first argument is freedom of choice. We mean that each of us, as a free person, should decide himself to use doping or not. We need to give such a chance of making a decision. We have a decision to smoke or not. We have a decision to drink or not. And of course we should have a decision in this situation with using doping or not. We are deprived of such choice, and it's a pity fact, unfortunately. We should have it. Our team is absolutely sure that we should allow doping to reach great achievements in sport, because we we use doping in the area of the highest achievements of humanity. If you think that all the records achieved by using doping false, then we want to talk about literature, just to compare this situation with the literature, for example. Talking about the literature, I'd like to say that we should never publish the flowers of evil, because Boulder, when he wrote this poem, he was under the influence of absinthe, it is alcohol. And cancel. Yes, please.
You said that we are talking about professional sports. You are taking, for example, literature. You are telling us about poets which used, like you said, absinthe to write their poems maybe, or something like that, but we are talking about professional sport.
But I'd like to make a comparison, if you heard me. The comparison just to the history, to the literature. I'll continue to it. For example, we should cancel Li Bo because he and in general all the Chinese poetry was made because of all these Chinese poets were influenced by special tea, which encouraged them to write their poems. It's also the fact. To cross out the line and you the wine, the autumn called to friend from Pushkin's poetry, because alcohol is also a doping. We should ban Bulgakov and Conan Doyle because they use morphine to write their poetry. It's also fact. All of these people were the prodigies in literature because of doping, but their works are classical and we read them all our life. We try to memorize even them. Why world is so unfair? Henry Ford said, whether you think you can or think you can't, you're right. We're definitely sure we can. Let's be smart and make right choice. We should have freedom of choice. Each athlete should have it. Why can dope in literature and don't have a choice to dope in sport? Our second argument is forbidden fruit is the sweetest. We mean that psychological nature of behavior of each person is really amazing. If something is forbidden, it attracts extremely large attention of people. Imagine the situation that some parents forbade their child to eat chocolate. Of course, curiosity of a child has won, and he tried chocolate and this forbidden fruit. He got addicted to this fruit to this sweet chocolate, and later sweets leads to illness of his teeth. And the same in sport. Once athlete tried doping, and he will do it again and again. But if we allow it, as more we ban it, as more people will try to find some sources and holes in this system. Allowing doping in sport, we can prevent this breaking of these laws. To sum up, I'd like to say that we make borders ourselves, and we should crush them, we should destroy them, and have a freedom of choice. We need to make a right decision and to allow doping in professional sport. It is really important, and we should do it. And each of us should make a right choice, as I say, because we have to make our own decision. Let's save democracy inside our country, because it is the great humanity chance just to realize the importance of such decision. Thank you.
Hello, dear teacher, dear employees, our speaker, and of course, dearest opponents. My name is Simferopol, and I'm the first speaker of Team Gymnasium. Our second speaker is Martin and our first speaker is Alin Halim. And today, as you know, we're going to play a motion that sounds like this house with all open sports, but we don't agree with it. And firstly, I want to say a refutation of the first speaker of the opposition team. Firstly, you said that it's freedom of choice. Every person must have freedom of choice, but if all sportsmen, all athletes will use these topics, so firstly it will make all world to be bad, because, for example, some sportsmen will use this doping, will take these drugs, and he cannot have children, or, for example, if this sportsman will have children, and these children will be...
Point, please.
Okay.
But we said that he has a choice. If he wants to have children in his future, he won't take doping.
But there are some situations when it's not freedom of choice, because some trainers or some sport companies make force some athletes to use this doping. Also, you said about that we must ban poems of Bulgakov. But we are now we are talking about about banning the drug, the doping, but not about some famous writers. And now I want to say our criteria. Health is the highest value of a person. And we have three arguments. Damage our health, gives unfair advantage and disappointment in sport. First two will be presented by me and last will be presented by our second speaker, Simferopol. Okay, a lot of people think that these doping, these drugs which are used by sportsmen have a lot of healthy vitamins which will help them to be fit, to get more strength, to make some physical and mental activities, but it is not right, and now we're going to prove you that. Doping is such drugs, and sportsmen use these for unnatural enhancement. And depending on the sport, doping can be divided into different or even opposite pharmacological effects, such as from tranquilizing to stimulating. Also, using drugs causes many complications in athletes, and it can make up to lethal outcomes. Using these drugs also leads to big problems with the health, to big problems with the organism. Firstly, your nervous system will be destroyed, and it will influence on your outer appearance, on your feelings, and so on. Secondly, it causes addiction. If the more you are using, the more you want. And yes.
Tell us, please, are sportsmen using doping nowadays?
According to statistics, about 65% of sportsmen around the world use these dopings, but yes, the body cells are dying because of these doping, these drugs, and the person will get the bad feelings. Thirdly, it causes infertilization. People who started to use these drugs from early age, I don't mean early age is maybe 10 or 15 years old, early age is maybe 20 years old. And because of this, in the future, these sportsmen, as I said, cannot have children, or will have with some disabled children. Because of these drugs, people become very aggressive, and they can do anything to win the competition. Also, their own hormones will not produce, and the person can even die. Doping, it is poison for us. Don't you think that the health is more important than winning the competition? And our second argument gives unfair advantage. Okay, using doping, some people will have an advantage over the other ones in the competition. And this destroys the main idea of the sport. Because everyone should have the same opportunity, the same chances to win the competition. So it is very unfair those who refuse to do these steroids to compete with these athletes who use this it. For example, some sportsmen prepare for some competition 2, maybe 3 or 4 years, but when another sportsman only maybe before competition will take these drugs and will easily win. And so because of this, you can say that doping is very bad. Because if you don't know how to get better, then you need to try harder, but don't use these dopings. If you will try harder, so you will be the first, because you must be single-eyed to achieve your goals. Thank you for your attention.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Serge, and today I have a great honor to give the second speech from the side of the proposition. Well, I would like to remind that we are speaking about the motion. This House believes that this House would allow doping in sports, and our team is absolutely sure that this statement is true, and we will prove it. Well, during my speech, first I will give you the refutation on the arguments which were presented by the opposition side. Then I will continue the case of my team, and I will explain our third argument. And after that, I will make a small conclusion of all the above mentioned. Well, first of all, about contra-argumentation. The first argument was concerning health, and do you know that your examples, for example, your examples were brilliant, but for our side, and the problem is that there was a point. Are sportsmen using doping now? And the answer was 65%. Well, the majority of sportsmen is using doping now. And the problem is that in the majority again of countries now, doping is being restricted. And here we can see a simple conclusion that if doping is being restricted, then the majority of sportsmen is using doping. Here is the problem, and we need to solve it, but just not give the statistics which doesn't prove the position. We talked about it in the second argument, which was the forbidden fruit is the sweetest. In the majority countries, doping is forbidden, and 65 we have the statistics which says that 87% of sportsmen use doping now. Again, it is restricted. And we want to solve this problem, and that's why we are staying for the position that it is necessary to allow doping in sports. About your reputation, sport companies and so on and so forth. Well, we live in a democratic society, and it is our right to choice to work on this sport company, not to work. We are people, and we do not live in a totalitarianistic society where everyone decides for us what to do or not to do. If I want to have children, I won't work for such companies who make me to use doping, for example. No thanks. Again, we should forbid because it is bad for health and we will not have children. Dear ladies and gentlemen, then we should forbid taking part in a war because we can die and we won't have children and our children will be alone. It's not the strong position, it's not fair nowadays not to give a right of choice, and we see it on the example of North Korea, on the example of the USSR and so on. We live in democratic society, I would like to remind you, and that's why we should use and make laws which support this democracy. Yes.
Do you think that professional sport does not exist in totalitarianistic countries or in other countries?
I think that professional sport exists in totalitarian countries. Next. I would like to support the arguments. Well, the first argument again was the freedom of choice, and we see that there were no strong refutation. And what about sport companies and the chance of not having children? I said about it. It wasn't strong refutation. And about second argument, forbidden fruit is the sweetest. Unfortunately, we see the situation that drug law in America in the 1920s, when, if I'm not mistaken, the president or Roosevelt or Woodrow Wilson, he said that, well, alcohol is bad, let's ban it. And after that, the quantity of alcohol which was sold in America, was more in twice, yes? This fact shows us that if we ban something, it becomes interesting. And dry law is a great example of history. It's not literature, guys, it's history. We should use history to make our future better. And if we have a lesson from this example, we would understand that doping should be allowed just to make this society a little bit better. No thanks. Now let's speak about our third argument. Its name is From Crime to Country Income. Here I would like to speak about the development of economy. Unfortunately, in our democratic society, there is a free market, yes, market economy. In market economy, everything is is not controlled, and the market controls everything. That's why there is such a thing, very bad thing, as black market, shadow sphere of economy. And here, unfortunately, we can see that if we ban doping, everything will be transferred to black market, and there the problems are much worse because we would not provide the quality, the good quality of doping. We would not provide taxes which will be paid into country budget from selling dopings, and we will just give money for the sport companies which make doping, and they will have hundreds of $billions, and we will have nothing because we have banned doping. Here we can present a statistics which was given by the CIA, Central Intelligence Agency website, and it said that nowadays we have $100 billion that is circled in black market in the sphere of doping. We truly believe that this fact shows us the weak point of not allowing doping because now it's not allowed, and that's why it is necessary to allow doping in order to improve our economy, in order forbidden fruit wouldn't be the sweetest, and in order to provide the freedom of choice in democratic society. Well, let's see these quotes. Learning is not a spectator sport, so let's play. Well, we are professionals because we are students. That's why we are professional sportsmen, because learning is a sport. And dear guys, if you forbid doping, we would not have a chance to drink coffee, for example, and we will not have a chance to start a good learning, and that's why we will not be successful in the future. That's why, ladies and gentlemen, we truly believe that doping should be allowed, and it will lead our society to a better point. Thank you very much.
So, hello everybody, hello our dear judge, timekeeper, and of course our opponents. Firstly, I want to make a refutation of your third argument that named from crime to counterfeit income, and then I will say our third argument. So, you said that we have some black markets that sell this doping, and they just have their income from it. If I understand it right, and then do you think that development of restricted doping is good? Because from this doping, it depends the health of nation, and do you want to allow the doping to make the health of the nation worse, and then the future will be dark for us because it damages our health, our life, our future. And I think that there is a question between health of nation and money. And I want to say about our third argument, and its name is disappointment in sport, and I think it is. We think it is an interesting question. Will you want to be a professional sportsman if a pharmacy is a half of the profession, and will amateurs look like their idols? And there are another reasons. Cycling suffered from doping because fans don't know that I'm sorry. Just a moment. Okay, the fans think that the game is real, and they want to be like their like this famous sportsman, and they train too much to be like there, and but what will they do? What will they do when they will know that their game is just built on doping? They will disappoint, and there is one. There is many examples, and one of them is that the Tour de France and other famous races are attracted with their reputation. But fans are shocked how sportsmen can work when it rains hard, or when it is too hot or snowy, and how are they? How can they work for this big distance, and they don't understand, and they just want to be like these sportsmen, but when they know that they just take dopings, their dreams are destroyed. And they have no sense in sport, and maybe even in their life. Okay, thank you.
Okay, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, our honored judge, our timekeeper, our audience, and our opponents. Today, my name is Joanna, and today we are talking on the important motion that doping should be allowed in sports. And our house and our team truly believes that it is so. So to start off with the structure of my speech, I'm going to start off with the refutation. Okay. Well, starting with a little question, did you know that according to historical sites that we've been on, doping was used in ancient times in the Olympic Games in Greece, like 700 BC. It was a long time ago, and they used doping then. As well as, I would like to answer one of your questions of inequality. Imagine two students having the same exact work because one of them copied from another. The most typical situation could happen, but one student has a 4, another one has a 5, because the teacher decided that that is the right thing to do. Corruption is everywhere, and basically in our world, what the media is trying to do is trying to find ways to show that athletes are bad because they are using doping, and are trying to dig holes for those athletes and cause lots of problems by the media because it is not allowed. And that's how they basically are showing us that and writing articles about the athletes who do use doping. Okay, basically you were talking about the fact that we are destroying our nation by using doping, but we already told you as the proposition team that gives framings that we are only talking about professional sports. So it does not include the nation, but it includes the professional athletes that are using it. No, thank you. How does doping, you said that doping also affects our lives, but usually you can't say that if you're not using doping. It can't affect your life in any way if you're not using it. You talked about the disappointment in sports, and you said yourself that according to your statistics, 63% or 65% of athletes are using it. Our statistics show different. It's protraining.com. It shows that 87% of athletes are using doping. And if you know the number, and if we know the number, then everyone else also knows it. So it can't be a disappointment because everyone knows about it. As well as, you say that the game is real, but how is it real when I've got statistics over here, actually a little picture, showing the 5 dirtiest and the 5 cleanest doping test results. And I'd like to show you that in the top 5 dirtiest is weightlifting, cycling, boxing, hockey, and equestrian. And the 5 cleanest are badminton, rowing, shooting, tennis, and modern pentathlon. So basically, what I'd like to say about this is that even the 5 cleanest sports that have been going through doping tests, none of them are proven to be 100%, like 0%. So most of them have, how much? 0.4%, 0.8%, but no sports that are shown here in the 5 cleanest doping test sports shows that there is a sport without any doping at all.
Point, ma'am.
Yes.
You're telling us about the worst doping test, and you are telling us about allowing doping in sports. How can we allow doping if we know that it is bad?
But we already know that 87% of the people are using doping. So why shouldn't we allow it if 87% of them are still using it? Okay, the thing that I would like to start off with is that if each of us ought to be free to assume risks that are worth taking, shouldn't athletes have the same freedom as anyone else? In particular, if athletes prefer the gains in performance allegedly provided by the use of steroids along with increased risk of human to the alternative of less risk and worse performance, what gives anyone the right to interfere with their choice? After all, we should not forbid smokers from risking their health by smoking. Why should we prohibit track stars or any professional athletes or sportsmen from taking risks with their health to pursue their dreams? No, thank you. Professional athletes are no children, but they are grown-up adults waiting to pursue their dreams. Doping is all around us: alcohol, smoking, energy drinks, and protein shakes. Now, we are not talking about good or bad. We are talking about that every adult should have their own choice. These things give you adrenaline and boost up your energy. Young athletes, some of them buy energy bars, right? But professional athletes already use doping. Why are professional sportsmen an exception of not having freedom of choice? Also, no, thank you. Forbidden fruit is the sweetest. There is this one quote that really just goes through my heart and that has so much sense. Strict parents create sneaky kids. So basically, if you forbid something, it actually motivates the person to try it out. Like when a parent says no to a child continuously, what is the child going to do? He's actually going to go out of their way and he's going to actually do it. While dopings are bad and controlled by illegal organizations that produce them, when we allow the doping, the illegal organizations are now going to be under the control of the government, which will control the expenses and budgets of those organizations, as well as have doctors and medical forces control the doses and make sure that they are safe. So by allowing them, you are also increasing the economy. We want to basically promote equality between athletes, because instead of promoting competition, forbidding doping increases unfairness and inequalities between sportsmen, as it provides the following message. Take performance-enhancing substances if you have a good dealer, but don't take them if you don't. Basically, the result of this will be unfair and annoying competition between people who cheat and people who don't, so we should just allow for everyone to do it. Now here comes the famous quote that our previous speaker, the first speaker, said, is never print flowers of evil, but as Baudelaire wrote them, and definitely under the influence of alcohol. Cancel Li Bai and in general all Chinese poetry, for every one of the ancient Chinese poets have been drinking special tea. Struck from the collected works of Pushkin's line, and knew the one, the autumn cold one, because alcohol has influenced him to write those lines. Why can people use derp in literature but not in sports? Basically, would like to just say the criteria once again. The only limits in your life are the ones you set yourself. Thank you.